Hi, in this video we are going to learn Google Data Studio through a real-world example. You will go from beginner to pro in under 20 minutes, and by the end, you will really understand how to use Data Studio not just by learning the theory, but by actually building a dashboard like this from scratch. If you're new to Data Studio, this video is for you. You will learn how to connect your data, whether it's from Google Sheets, Google Analytics, Facebook Ads, or any other source. Then you'll be able to add charts, customize them to your needs, and put everything together to build a professional looking dashboard. Let's get started. To build a dashboard, there are only three simple steps. The first step is to connect your data. To connect your data, let's head to datastudio.google.com and get started. When you first open Data Studio, you will land on the home page. This is where you can create and manage your dashboards. At the top, you will find options to create a new report. In the middle, you will see reports and data sources you have recently worked with. Now we need to bring our data into Data Studio, but that data can live in different places such as Google Analytics, Google Sheets, or other platforms. So you can connect to these data sources and use that in your report. That's what a data source does. It connects your data to Data Studio so you can use it in your report. So let's click Create Data Source. You will now see a list of connectors. These are the different platforms you can choose to bring data from. For example, if you choose Facebook ads, you can connect your Facebook ads data and use it to build a dashboard. You can do the same with the other connectors you see here. Google's connectors appear first, including Google Analytics, Google Ads, and Google Sheets. As you scroll down, you will find connectors from other partners that let you connect to platforms that don't have a built-in Google connector. For this tutorial, we'll use Google Analytics. I'll select my Google Analytics account, choose the property I want to use, and click Connect. Even if you choose a different data source here, the next step in this tutorial will be the same. Only the data you use in your report will change. And that's our first step done. We have connected our data to Data Studio. Next, let's move on to the second step, which is building our report. Now, we are on a blank page. This is where we'll build our dashboard. In the center, you will see two layout options, freeform and responsive. These controls how we arrange things on the canvas. Freeform lets you place charts anywhere you want, while responsive keeps everything organized and adjusts the layout when the screen size changes. We'll use responsive layout for this tutorial because it makes it easier to keep the dashboard organized. Click responsive layout. Now let's look at the panels on the right because we'll use them throughout the tutorial. The first panel is where you set up the chart. Here you can choose the dimensions and metrics you want to display in the chart. Think of a dimension as how you want to break down your data and a metric as a number you want to measure. For example, country can be the dimension and active users can be the metric. We'll use different combinations of these as we build each chart. The second panel shows all the fields available from Google Analytics data source. This is where you will find the dimensions and metrics you can choose from when setting up your charts. You don't need to remember every field right now. As we build the report, I'll show you how to choose the right dimension or metric for each chart. Now that you know your way around the basic interface, let's build a dashboard. Let's start by giving our report a name. Click Untitled Report at the top left and enter GFO website performance. You can also add your company logo next to the title. Click Image and upload your logo. Since we are using responsive layout, Data Studio will adjust the elements for us, but you may need to move the logo and title slightly to get them into the right position. Now, let's add some filters and controls. A filter is a way to ask your dashboard a specific question. For example, instead of looking at data from all countries, we can create a filter to choose the countries that matter most. Without filters, we would have to show a lot of data across different charts and tables. Imagine you want to find something specific in your data. Will you manually go through every table to find the best performing pages or simply keep adding charts to see the results for each country? That's why we need filters in our dashboard. Without them, we might just keep adding more and more charts and tables, making it harder to find the information we need. To do so, click Add a Control and select Drop-down List. We'll add two drop-down lists and one data range control. For the first drop-down, select it and look at the control field in the panel on the right. Change this to country. Now we can use the drop down to see visitors from a specific country. Let's set up the second one in the same way. Select the drop down, go to the control field and choose device category. Now we can compare visitors using desktop, mobile or tablet. Finally, select the data range control and set the default range to quarter. Now we can change the country, device, or data range whenever we want without changing the dashboard itself. So far, we have connected our data and set up the filters we need. Now, let's make some space for our charts. Move your mouse just below the filters and you will see a blue colored plus icon. Click it to add a new section to the canvas. Now let's start by adding a scorecard to our report. A scorecard highlights the important data in your report like this. It can be your total sales, your new visitors, or any data you want to highlight. So to add a scorecard, just click Add a Chart and select Scorecard. You can see that the scorecard has been added to our report. Now, Data Studio shows some data here by default. So let's change it and show the data we want. To do that, just click on the scorecard and you can see these options on the right. Now click here and you will get a list of data from your report. So you can select the data you want to show. Since I'm using Google Analytics, I'm going to select active users. You can see that we are now getting the total number of visitors. Now let's add a small chart below this like this. This will show you if your data is going up or down. So to add it, just click on Sparkline and select Date. You can see that the small chart has been added. Next, let's compare this data with the last month. So just scroll down. Turn on Comparison Date Range and select Previous Period. You can see that we are now getting the comparison here. So now you can easily see if your data went up or down. Now let's make this number easier to read. So just go to Style and turn on Compact Numbers. You can see that instead of 61,928, we are now getting 61.9K. So we have successfully created our first scorecard. Now we need three more scorecards like this. But instead of creating them one by one, there's an easier way. All you have to do is duplicate the scorecard three times. So just right click on the scorecard and add duplicate. You can see that we have got one more scorecard. Now in the same way, let's duplicate it two more times and then arrange them like this. You can see that we now have four scorecards, but all of them are showing the same data. So now let's change the data in these scorecards. To do that, just click on the second scorecard and click here. Then select the data you want to show. I'm going to select new users. You can see that our second scorecard is ready. Now, in the same way, let's change the data in other two scorecards. And our scorecards are done. We now have four key metrics at the top of our report. Next, let's add a time series chart to see how these numbers change over time. Click Add a Chart and choose Time Series. A time series chart is now added to Canvas. This chart helps us see how our metrics change over time. Change the metrics to new users and active users. Now we can see both metrics day by day. If there's a sudden drop or spike in traffic, we can spot it quickly. We can also change how this chart looks. Select the chart, open the Style tab on the right. Here, Data Studio gives you a few ways to change how your chart looks. For example, you can turn on gradient to add shading below the lines. Cumulative changes the chart to show the running total over time. You can also turn on show points to highlight each data point. Step lines changes the line into steps instead of a smooth line. And show data labels lets you change how the data appears on the chart. For this dashboard, we'll keep the default style and leave these options unchanged. Now place the chart below the scorecards so it becomes the main chart on the page. Next, let's add a donut chart. A donut chart helps us compare different categories at a glance. For example, we can use it to see how much time people spend on a website on mobile, desktop, and tablet. To do so, click Add a Chart and choose the donut chart. Now, change the dimension to device category and the metric to average session duration. This lets us compare how long people spend on the website across mobile, desktop, and tablet. As we change the style for our other charts, we can do the same here. On the right, open the Style tab. Here you can change things like the position, background, border, header, and font. So far, we have looked at what people do on the website and which devices they use. Now let's look at where those visitors are coming from. Click Add a Chart and choose GeoChart. Change the metric to active users. You can now see your active users on a world map, making it easy to spot which countries have the most visitors to your website. Now that we know where our visitors are coming from, let's see which pages they visit. Instead of going through a long list of pages, we'll create a table that shows our top landing pages. Click Add a Chart and choose Table with Bars. Change the dimensions to landing page and the metric to new users. You can add sessions as another metric to check how long visitors stayed on your website. We don't need to show every page, so scroll down to a number of rows and set top rows to 10. This will show the 10 landing pages bringing in the most new users. Now let's make the numbers easier to compare. Open the Style tab and scroll down to Metrics. Here, we can change how the numbers appear in the table. Under Metric 1, choose bar to show each value as a horizontal bar, making it easy to compare values, or choose heat map to highlight higher and lower values with different shades. Turn on compact numbers to keep large numbers easy to read. Keep show number enabled so you can still see the exact value. Finally, give the table the title Top Landing Pages. Now that we have created our top landing pages table, we can use the same idea to see where our traffic is coming from. Instead of creating another table from scratch, let's duplicate the one we just made. Right-click the table and select Duplicate. Now select the new table. In the first panel on the right, change the dimension to Session Default Channel Group and keep sessions as the metric. This gives us a simple view of the channels, bringing people to a website such as organic search, direct, referral, or organic social. We can also see how many sessions each channel brings in. Next, we'll add a chart to see how those sessions are split between new and returning visitors. Click Add a Chart and choose a bar chart. Set the dimension to new or returning and the metric to sessions. Now we can quickly compare the number of sessions from new and returning visitors. Together, these two charts tells us where our visitors are coming from and whether those visitors are new or returning. Now let's pause for a moment and look at what we have built. Without opening Google Analytics, we can now answer some useful questions. How many people visited the website? Are those numbers going up or down? Which devices are they using? Which countries bring the most visitors? And which pages get the most traffic? We can find all of this in one place instead of checking different reports. Now let's make the report look clean and professional. Click Theme Layout in the top right corner. You will see several built-in themes. Click through the options to see how the chart colors change automatically. You may also see an option for modern charts. This gives your charts newer styling and customization options. Since this upgrade can't be undone, we'll leave it unchanged for now. If your company has its own brand colors, you don't have to change every chart yourself. Click Extract Theme from Computer and upload an image that uses brand colors, such as your company logo. Data Studio will create a few color options based on the image. Choose the one you like and click Apply. Your entire report will update at once. Now let's check that everything works. Click View, change the date, and include or exclude a few countries. You should see the charts update automatically. This tells us that our data is connected and our filters are working correctly. We now have our first page ready with the key audience insights in one place. Next, let's create a second page to look more closely at our content performance and the actions people take on the website. Click Add a Page in the Data Studio menu. You don't have to build this page from scratch. We can reuse what we have already created. One option is to duplicate the first page. Open the page menu and select Duplicate Page. This creates a copy with the same title, filters, scorecards, charts, and layout. You can also copy these elements yourself. Go to the first page, click Edit, select All. Move to the second page, click Edit, Paste, and the elements will appear there. Both methods save time and keep the two pages consistent. Now we can change the metrics and charts on this page to focus on our content performance. Now let's change the numbers shown in our scorecards. Select the first scorecard, then go to the metric field in the panel on the right and change it to views. Do the same for the other scorecards and choose views per session, key events, and session key event rate. These metrics tells us what people do after they arrive on the website. Views show how many times your content was viewed. Views per session shows the average number of views in each session. Key events and session key event rate helps us understand the important actions people take on your website. Next, let's change one of the charts we copied from the first page. Select the first chart, then click the chart type drop down in the right side panel and choose funnel. A funnel helps us see how people move through a series of steps. For this chart, we'll use event count as a metric and event name as a dimension. Now scroll down and sort the chart by event count in descending order. This pulls the events with the highest event count at the top. You can quickly see which events happen most often on your website. Select the chart, click the chart type drop down and choose table. Change the dimension to page title and the metric to views. Now the table shows the pages on a website and the number of views each page gets. Give the table a clear name so it's easy to recognize later. We can use the same steps to create other tables too. For example, we can show event count by event name or views by page title by changing the dimension and the metric. So far, we have been using the metrics and dimension that are already available in our data. But what if the metric you need isn't there? That's where custom fields come in. A custom field lets you use the data you already have to create something new. For example, we can create sessions by user by dividing the sessions by total user. This tells us how many sessions each user had on average. And you can do the same thing with dimension. You can create your own dimension when you want to group your data differently. Let's start with the custom metric. Previously, we have used metrics like new users and active users, which are already available in GA4. But what if we want to know the percentage of users we were new? That's a new metric we need to create. Click Add a Chart and select Time Sales. Data Studio will add a metric automatically. We'll replace it with our own. In the panel on the right, click the metric and select Calculated Field. You will now see the options for creating your own metric. Give it a name, choose the data type, and enter your formula. For this example, let's name it New User Rate. The data type is already set to number, so we'll leave it as it is. In the formula box, enter new users or active users. Once you enter the formula, click Apply. Now, when you hover over the chart, you can see the new user rate over time. We have created our own custom metric. Next, we can use the same approach to create a custom dimension too. Remember the geo map we created earlier? It showed us the countries our visitors came from. Let's say we don't want to look at every country separately. We just want two groups, India and rest of the world. Data Studio already knows a country for each visitor, but it cannot group those countries into these two categories. So we'll create our own dimension to tell it how to group them. Go to the second page where we created our new user rate chart. Click Add a Chart and choose Pie Chart. By default, Data Studio uses device category as a dimension. We'll change that. In the panel on the right, click the dimension and select Add Calculated Field. Just like we did with our calculated metric, we can now create our own dimension. Give it a name and choose the data type. In the formula box, we'll tell Data Studio how to group the countries. Let me break the formula down for you. Case tells Data Studio that we are setting a condition. When country India tells it to check whether the country is India, if it matches, then tells Data Studio to show India. If it doesn't, else tells it to show the rest of the world. And end tells Data Studio that the formula is complete. So in simple terms, we are saying if the country is India, show India. Otherwise, show rest of the world. Once you're done, click Apply. Now the pie chart is split into two groups, India and rest of the world. We can call this market by sessions. And that's our second page ready. We now have one page for audience insights, another for content performance. Let's give them clear names so we can easily identify. Click the page navigator at the top of the report. You will see both pages listed in the panel on the right. Click the three dots next to the first page and select Rename. We'll call the first page audience because it gives us an overview of who is visiting the website and the second content and actions because it focuses on what they do. You can also control whether viewers can see your page. Click the three dots again and select Control Visibility. By default, the page is visible to everyone. You can also hide the page or control its visibility with a variable. For this report, we'll keep the default settings so both pages remain visible. Now, our pages have clear names and both are ready for viewers to navigate. Open Theme and Layout and go to the Layout tab. Under Navigation, choose Tabs. Click View. You will see Audience and Content and Actions appear as tabs at the top of the report. Now you can switch between the two pages with a single click. Once you're happy with the report, let's download a copy. Click Share, choose Download Report, select all pages and click Download. Open the PDF and you will see both pages together in the downloaded report. You can also share the report with your teammates or clients. Click Share, enter their email address, choose whether they can view or edit the report, and click Send. There's one more setting we can turn on to let recipients refresh the data themselves. Click Edit and go to File. Report Settings. On the right, select your data source and turn on Report Viewers can refresh data. This lets the recipients refresh the report and see the latest available data without asking you to update it for them. And that's it. You started with a blank Data Studio page and now you have built a complete working dashboard from scratch. You know how to connect your data, add the right charts and controls, organize your report and share it with others. You have gone from not knowing where to start to being able to build one for yourself. Next, there's one more thing that can make your work much faster. That's where ready-made templates come in. A template is a dashboard that's already designed for you, so you can connect your own data and customize it instead of building everything from scratch. These are the list of GA4 templates available at 2-minute reports. From the given list, let's select GA4 Performance Dashboard template. Before connecting your data, take a quick look at what's already built for you. The template comes with multiple pages, filters, scorecards, charts, and tables all organized into a complete GA4 report. The first page gives you an overview of your website performance. You can see key numbers such as total users, new users, sessions, and purchases, along with charts showing traffic and revenue. You also have pages that help you understand where your traffic comes from and how people interact with your content. You can look at performance by channel, source, campaign, landing page, and device. So instead of starting with a blank canvas and deciding what to build, you already have a complete structure to work with. Now, click Use My Own Data. This replaces a sample data in the template with your own Google Analytics data. Select your GA4 property and click Add. That's it. Your data is now connected and the charts and scorecards update with your latest data. And just like that, you have a working GA4 report without building every chart yourself. Notice the difference from the dashboard we built earlier. When we started from scratch, we created each chart, scorecard, and filter ourselves. Here, that work is already done, but you don't have to use the template exactly as it is. You can customize it using everything you have learned in this video. For example, if you don't need the recent daily purchases chart, select it and change the metric to new users or active users. You can also change other metrics, replace charts, add filters, create new pages, or remove anything you don't need. So you now have two ways to build a Data Studio report. You can start with a blank page when you want to build the report yourself, or use a template when you want to save time. If you are new to Data Studio, building one report from scratch is a great way to learn how everything works. Once you know the basics, templates can help you build your next reports much faster. If you would like to use this GA Performance dashboard template, I have linked it in the description below. Connect your own GA4 property and start building on top of it instead of starting from a blank page every day. And that's it. You don't have to wonder where to start anymore. You can build it yourself. And just like that, you have gone from a beginner to a Data Studio Pro in under 20 minutes. So what are you waiting for? Go build your first report. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.